Editor, put the headline to our poster right here real quick. Yep. And here's that. Not knocked loose, loathe, show me the body, speed. Okay. All right.
Mhm.
Now, if I had a nickel for every time a band on this bill played heavy music and somehow snuck a reggaeton breakdown into something, I would have 2 nickels.
Yeah.
Which isn't a lot, but it's weird that this happened more than once.
Right.
That's a fucking clap right there, dude.
Oh yeah.
All right.
All
The
right.
new and improved
Hey.
EternalDisco. Whoa.
Hey, yeah, we got
new
okay.
mics.
I got tax deductibility.
Tax deductibility. We're headsetted up, we're
Yeah.
we're chilling.
So we start making inexplicable mouth noises and breathing sounds into the microphone.
Yeah. Editor's note, I reviewed I edited the Dune review and I heard myself breathing so much that I texted Dylan and was like, Dylan, I fuck it, dude. I'm tired. I know the handhelds were my idea, but if I hear myself breathe again, I'm really gonna do it this time. Like
I'm gonna do it.
So.
Oh man. Yeah. So we're back.
So this is a little.
I'm freshly sick again. You can probably hear it in my voice a little bit. I'm already getting raspy.
A little bit.
But I grew a beard. Hey.
Grew a beard. I cut all my hair off.
Yeah.
I'm cutting my beard off.
Got a professional thumb on our hands.
Dude, I'm gonna look like the fucking Spy Kids guy. Yeah, that's me. It's gonna be really funny because the plan is that this video, and here comes the editor's note on if I did it or not. Ding ding ding. Better be yes, Gabe. Better be yes. If I put this video out before some of the older footage that we have recorded.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to go short hair, and then I'm going to start putting more videos with long hair back out, and then we'll get back to short hair again.
We're going to look like freaks, like just
we're gonna,
mustache, beard, long hair, short hair.
Exactly. That's fine.
Jesus.
Anyway, we're already yapping.
Yeah.
This is another, like if you've seen the Dune Part 2 review, that's we pitched that as like a new sub-series of this is shorter and big air quotes shorter whenever we wanted to review something specific like a movie we really really liked, or in this case an album we really liked. Maybe
absolutely.
Question mark.
Stay tuned
to see. Very long-winded to say that this is our review for the new Knocked Loose record.
Yes.
You won't go before you're supposed to.
Yes. Great name.
Awesome name. Go ahead and start the review here by just saying things that I like about this, like, without even listening to the music.
Mm-hmm.
Me, personally, I fucking love album titles that are, like, sentences.
Yeah.
Like, if it's got, like, you in it. Like, you, something, something, something. Yeah, like, I love that shit. Like,
right.
You won't go before you're supposed to, or, like, You're Not You Anymore is the name of, like, a Counterparts record.
Yeah.
Fucking Nails, You Will Never Be One of Us.
Right. Or even like not you, but I, like I let it in and it took everything.
I let it in and it took everything. Stuff like that. I love titles like that. Big fan.
If you ever, I mean, nobody ever will, but if you ever see the working titles for any of my music, they're all like the most pretentious, like sentences and stuff. I
love shit like that.
Yeah.
Like, I think more bands should name their stuff. Like, if I see a band that I like announce an album and it's titled like that, I'm like, yeah, this is gonna be gas.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna love this.
Yeah, they thought about that shit.
They thought about it, and a little bit of foreshadowing here because something else that I definitely want to talk about when we get to that track.
Mm-hmm.
But it almost always lines up with another thing that I like.
Yeah.
Which is cliche, but I'm a sucker for whenever I hear the name of the album on the album.
Mm.
Especially bonus points if there's not a actual title track, but you still hear the name.
Oh yeah.
And then you figure out, that is like the title track. They just didn't call it that. Yeah, big fan.
Oh,
so that's like my Pog moment. It doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah.
If I hear someone say like the name of the album in the album, like yes.
Yeah, it's pretty dope. But yeah, the title sick, album art
awesome,
amazing, the rollout great. I mean,
the artistic vision for this whole project is just, I mean, it's awesome.
Yeah.
I gotta figure out the name. I'll put it up here. But the artist that they used to take the photograph for the cover art is a guy that Brian Garris said in a podcast that he had been following for a while, and I believe it is the guy that does a lot of the work for Ethel Cain, which makes a lot of sense in hindsight. Because they've got a Knock Loose and Ethel Cain don't make the same music at all, but they kind of fuck with the same vision as far as like what they're going for, which is like this real Southern, like gothic, religious trauma kind of fucked up vision.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really fucked with it, and when I saw it, I was like, that's very. I immediately had the thought that it seemed kind of Ethel Cain-ish. And I know that they're big fans of Ethel Cain. And then I heard in the podcast that he said that they got the same guy to do it. Yeah. There's like a whole story about how they wanted this one specific picture, and he was like, yeah, but technically I've already like sold that picture to someone else, so we'd have to like recreate it and change it.
Yeah.
So they took a whole new picture, and
pretty
cool. Pretty cool story.
Pretty cool. Yeah, like I think we mentioned on the year-end music review.
Yeah.
That I got into Knocked Loose through A Tear in the Fabric of Life.
Yeah.
And then super big, like I even bought some of the the singles.
The Upon
Lost singles. God damn, I got a shirt that says it's about that big across the front. I couldn't remember. But the Upon Lost singles, fell in love with them even more.
Yeah.
And then the singles for this.
The Knocked Loosification of Dylan has been something to behold.
Yeah. Because now the brainworms have seeped even further.
Yeah. This was like I would argue to say that this is the single band that kind of just like made metalcore click for you.
Yeah.
Finally. After years of beating you down and trying to get you to like things here and there.
Yeah, but only because this is like the best metalcore band though. See, the way my music taste works is like I sort of like pick like the best of a genre, and then that's the only band I'll listen to.
For sure.
For a long time, like that's kind of like my thing. So Knocked Loose was definitely that for me. But so I got into them like late-ish, like in the last year or so, year or two.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the hype for this record coming out, immaculate. Like, I mean, all the interviews, like the downbeat with Brian, and I watched like rig rundowns with them before the album came out. Like I was like absorbing everything I could about these guys and this record. But
so I guess the main question we have to answer here is because of like all the hype that you had for this, for you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we'll get to me in a minute, but for you, did it live up to what you wanted?
Yeah, it did. Like, I saw the track list, and I was like, oh, this is going to be like a 40-minute album.
Yeah.
And then when it came out being 27 minutes, like, that's the sweet spot for me, baby. Mwah. Call it ADHD, call it what you will. Like, give me 30 minutes of music, tops. Like, I love records that just come and go like that.
It's crazy that the record comes in like maybe just a couple minutes longer than the EP did.
Yeah.
It's a whole album, but it's only like I don't know, like 3 or 4 minutes longer than Tear in the Fabric of Life is.
Yeah.
But
which, call it what you will. We sort of mentioned it briefly about like, it's been 5 years since a full length.
Yeah.
And we get less than 30 minutes of music, which, we can go a little bit farther into that when we get to the track list. But but like, for example, one song is 46 seconds long.
Yeah, it fucking rocks.
Oh yeah. Oh, I love it. But that's what I mean. It's like you see the track list, but yeah, they're all like a minute and a half.
They it doesn't overstay its welcome. I actually think like I'm a big fan of shorter stuff, like shorter track lists like that.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when it comes to the style of music, because the worst thing you can do is, well, not the worst thing, but like sometimes you can overstay your welcome.
Yeah.
And they've had that problem in the past before.
Mm-hmm.
Like I love A Different Shade of Blue, their last full length record.
Mm-hmm.
But I do know some common criticisms is that like maybe it's too long. Yeah. Maybe there's a couple of tracks they could have cut off of it. And I think it's apparent because there's songs from that record that they will probably never play live because they just don't have the juice like some of the other songs.
Yeah,
but
right.
you cut that album down by like maybe 3 or 4 songs, god tier, you
Yeah.
know.
Well, the thing is too, like Knocked Loose is like a hardcore band that's
Yeah.
just been forcibly placed into like the metalcore genre because they're just heavy as fuck, I guess.
They're
I don't
like
know why, but like they're
borderline, like, I mean, to be honest with you, you take their instrumentals mostly, especially with some of the older stuff, with their last guitarist Cole having a lot of like death metal inspired riffs on the older stuff.
Yeah.
They're borderline a deathcore band at moments,
Yeah.
you know?
That's what I'm saying. Like they I mean, like, yeah, definitely, but like they're like self-proclaimed like hardcore guys.
Yeah, well, because they came from the hardcore scene.
Yeah.
And I mean, they definitely,
And they still have that like verve to them.
yeah.
Like they, they're not metalcore. Like,
No, they're not.
They're just so heavy and so good, I guess, that they people who like metalcore like Knocked Loose.
Well, and there's also the argument of like what kind of metalcore they are.
Right, and I don't like, do subgenres.
The diatribe of what is real metalcore.
Yeah.
You know, like people think that. I mean, they're technically considered like they're one of the front runners and like the maybe the sole big reason that we got like the era of revival metalcore that we've gotten over the last like 10 years. Because before they came out and started getting popular with their first record, I mean, you didn't hear people that sounded like that.
Yeah.
They brought back an entire sound of metalcore. Funny enough, I just thought about this. There was Anthony Fantano did a segment on their first album, Laugh Tracks, when it came out, in his like Why You Know review segment, I think. I can't remember if it was Laugh Tracks or it may have been Different Shade of Blue. It may have been a couple years later. And he was like, look, this is good, but I came from when I used to listen to metalcore, this is what metalcore sounds like. So for these kids to just be shamelessly playing what metalcore used to sound like doesn't do a lot for me because I left it before it changed.
Yeah.
And because he famously hates metalcore for the most part.
I mean, rightfully so.
Yeah, I mean, I can't fault him for it. I'm a horrible, dirty, shameless metalcore listener.
Right.
But anytime someone's like, it kind of sucks, I'm like, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Right. It is what it is.
It's me with Gent, you know.
Oh yeah.
Like I used to love Gent, and now it's like I can't not say I can't say I don't like it.
Yeah. But you know where
it's a trope.
I've been in the trenches. I know.
Yeah.
I know where the mud is.
Right. Exactly. So, yeah. So I mean, I get that, and like they're so like to me because I don't listen to any metalcore, old or new. It's just so fucking good. Like,
well,
like it's so refreshing to be like to like put it on Spotify and like you'll hear like other good metalcore, like like that Boundaries record that I've been listening to a little bit, but then like a Knocked Loose song will come on after it. It's like played in the same, which it's just my Spotify algorithm too. But you know what I mean? Like it's lumped in with the same sort of genre, but like it's also so different and for better or for worse because. Up until recently, a little side note, I've told my brother, I was like, I feel like Knocked Loose would be so much bigger if they didn't have the vocalist issues people have with them.
Yeah.
Because as a Law Dispute, unabashed Law Dispute enjoyer, I hear this all the time. The music's really good, but damn, his voice, I just can't. I feel like Knocked Loose would have, but I also don't think they would be as good of a band without Brian Garrett, obviously.
No, well, that's the thing is people hear him and there will always, he will never escape this guy sounds like, people used to say like he sounds like Mickey Mouse.
Yeah.
People were never, he's never going to escape the criticism of how he sounds. But I think that you're correct, and like their shit would not hit nearly as hard half the time if you didn't have that style with it.
Yeah. Because like another great like metalcore vocalist, like dude from Norma Jean,
Corey. Yeah.
Corey. Like think about like just a very like he's not generic, but he's
Yeah.
to me that's like what metalcore like the metalcore I like the more like raw edge sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like something like that over the music would like make it more popular, but maybe not be as good.
Well, see, but here's the thing.
So
here's the crazy thing about them is they are such an anomaly of how popular they are and how popular they've gotten.
Yeah.
Without compromising.
Exactly.
Which is awesome.
Which is why when I was telling my brother like, oh, they'd be so much more popular if they had, people didn't have to get past the vocals, but now they're like over 1 million, 2 million monthly listeners on Spotify. They've sleep tokened us.
Yeah.
Like, like they like the lead up to this album, they've skyrocketed.
It's cool to see because like if you followed them from, like the beginning, which like I first heard Knocked Loose in 2015, I think, was before their first album. And when I heard them, it's because they were getting a lot of hype from like smaller scenes, and then it turned into them getting signed to Pure Noise, which at the time was like the hot label to be signed to. And then they put out Laugh Tracks, and people were like, this is the heaviest stuff I've ever heard. It's crazy. And they got a lot of hype doing that. And they started just like grinding out shows. Like they were playing shows nonstop. Yeah. Like they just were never not playing live, getting their name out there, doing seemingly any tour they'd get their hands on. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, people noticed. People realized how good they were live. They started getting offers for bigger tours that didn't necessarily, fit them, or like, I think the first like big tour that I saw them on, that wasn't one that they necessarily like fit with or what was their tour, was they opened for Beartooth, which was
that's got to be embarrassing if you're in Beartooth.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and they were definitely the odd band out for sure.
Smoked by your opener.
But that was the thing. It's like all of a sudden now this band's playing, there's the support on a room for like a 1,500 cap, 2,000 cap room. Yeah. And people are loving it. They're like, whoa, that's crazy. Yeah. And then all of a sudden they got the support for A Day to Remember. And then they're playing like, 3,000 to 5,000 cap rooms as a support. And then they got support for Bring Me the Horizon a couple years ago, and now they're playing arenas as a support. People are going crazy. I mean, they're getting in front of thousands and thousands of people. Oh yeah. And now their headliner is selling out like 2,500 cap rooms every night because people were coming there for them. Yeah. And I mean, it's awesome.
I mean, more power to the guys, but like, and it's a little bit more in line, but they're on that Slipknot.
Yeah, now they're the support for Slipknot.
And man, imagine getting Slipknot getting smoked by an opener, but I'm pretty sure they're gonna smoke Slipknot. Like, I mean Slipknot's still great live,
Yeah, but
I've seen them live. They're cool, but yeah, they're just they're just getting in front of literally millions of people at this point.
Yeah, I mean,
because they're doing this headliner.
Yeah.
Which they'll be here in like a month, less than a month for us.
Yeah.
And then immediately, I guess, hitting the road, and obviously they're not coming back through Atlanta, but they're coming back through with Slipknot.
Yeah.
Doing another national tour.
Yep. And they'll probably have something to do in the fall. Yeah. Like they're fucking they're road dogs, dude. They grind.
Yeah. Hey man. Wish it were me.
But you know what? It works. And then like, last year the big thing was they got announced as like the only heavy band. They got to play Coachella and Bonnaroo, which are like pop festivals. Yeah. They got the offers to play those, and the videos from those sets are just like fucking legendary, dude. Yeah. Watching people stage dive at a Coachella shit set, like Coachella, that's crazy. No barricade. And then like the whole story of them like being like they didn't even know they were gonna have no barricade. They assumed that they were gonna set it up because whatever. But it was because Coachella just like straight up didn't know. They're like, why would we need a barricade?
Yeah.
Everybody's so chill. And then all of a sudden people start fucking killing each other.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah. So more power to the guys, dude. They're fucking doing it right. They're like blowing up in like the best way possible.
Yeah. And this album really sonically speaks to the idea that they don't have to compromise. And I think that should be a lesson that like everybody who wants to make music similar to this, or just any sort of like, I mean, any music, really, it doesn't matter the genre at all. But like, if you've got a vision, you don't have to. As long as it's good and people know that your heart's in it, and you're seeing the vision through, you don't have to sit there and cater to the trend or the masses or whatever.
Yeah.
You can just do what you want to do, and if you're, people will fuck with it.
Except for one small exception, Slaughterhouse 2, but we can get to that.
But okay, but here's the thing. They could when you look at the track list, and the track list got announced, and you see that there's a feature from Poppy, and there's a feature from Chris Motionless from Motionless in White, and it's like a sequel song to a Motionless in White song.
Yeah.
That, oh, okay, this, it kind of spelled a story out before the album came out.
Yeah.
Of what this could have been. Where I was like, okay, all the things we just talked about, like them getting bigger, them getting on Coachella and Bonnaroo, and them building all this stuff, and they went to a new producer. You look at the track list and you take all this stuff and you write it down in your head, and you're like, we're probably about to get a Knocked Loose record with clean singing and trap hi-hats. Like very like starting to cater to radio.
Yeah.
Introducing some more like palatable elements. And then the songs come out.
Yeah.
And it's not that.
No.
In the slightest.
Right. Yeah.
The closest that you could get is the song with Chris Motionless.
Yeah.
But
it still goes crazy.
But even it is hard as fucking nails. It just in a different way.
I love the not the breakdown, I guess, but like the spot in the middle where it goes, you just hear like the guy playing guitar, just like acoustically playing the electric guitar with the click track in the background as everything drops out. I
have a theory for that. So it didn't click until recently.
Click.
Well, that's the thing is it cuts out and you can hear the strumming pattern and you can hear the metronome, like it's like you can hear it like just a clip of them playing it in the studio. There is another specific song by another band that does that exact same thing, and I'm dollars to donuts. It's got to be an homage to that, and it's an homage to an Amir song. There's an Amir song that does the same fucking thing, and I know for sure that Isaac, the guitarist from Knocked Loose, is a huge Amir fan. So I'm thinking like no shot. That's got to be a reference to that. But
hey, if it is, that's crazy. But also, shit's just cool as fuck. I heard that and I was like, run that shit back real quick. What just happened?
Oh yeah, it's awesome. I listened to it again in the car on the way here, and was just like, yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So. But yeah, and I on the way back from when we just ate, I played Austin.
First couple songs.
Suffocate.
Yeah.
With Poppy, and I explained to him, and he's like, "Who's Poppy?" And I'm just like, musician. Like she's done like metal-y sort of stuff before, but like, like I believe one of the interviews, Brian was like, "It's hilarious that people thought this was gonna be a
soft song."
A soft song, yeah, because she goes she gives it 110.
She does.
And like, it's great song on the record.
I wanted to do, let's just go track by track with it. So what did you think of the opener, Thirst?
Great opener. My issue, okay, I will preface this with saying I've listened to the album 2 times, like front to back, not looking at my phone, like just driving to work, literally driving to work and then driving back from work today, or yesterday and today. So, but I will say Thirst is sick. I mean, like, they're like the king of like the call outs or like, like just simplistic lyrics like hitting hard,
Oh yeah.
and like so like Thirst is a great opener, like fucking hella energy.
Yeah, I love the it's like basically like a fucking I'm not sure what the audio at the beginning of the song is, but it's so like subtle.
Hmm.
And then all of a sudden it's like a jump scare. Like a
Yeah.
fucking horror movie.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just fast as shit. I love every like whenever they do like super fast parts,
Mm-hmm.
especially when like God, I mean it's just like the syncopated beat, like with the snare.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know what the term for it is, but like like I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like him doing like a fucking like punk beat or like a blast or anything.
Yeah.
You hear it a lot with like mathcore. You hear a
Yeah.
lot of that
Mm-hmm.
and stuff. I love that shit. So the fact that the album is basically that opens with that, I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
The lyrics are great, very scary.
Yeah.
Brian's trying to be a very scary man. I'm a big fan. Big
Yeah.
fan. I want it. That's what I want. I want it to be scary.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and that's like going back to Tear, like it is definitely like a horror,
Yeah,
adjacent sort of like vibe that they got going on. Like,
bro, it's fucking.
It's so good.
It's A24 metalcore, baby.
Yeah, literally, literally A24 style metalcore.
The I want to shout out the addition. I don't know if he was on. He was in the band when Tear came out, but I don't know if he recorded on Tear. I don't think he did. But in the Upon Lost singles and then now in this, they changed guitarists from this guy named Cole to this guy named Nico, and Nico kills it. And he also screams on the record. So now we've got 3 people doing screams like alternating.
Yeah.
And then there's that part in Thirst where it's like Isaac and Nico bouncing off. Awesome.
Yeah.
I love how different all 3 people sound. Brian, Isaac, and Nico sound.
Yeah, that's what's awesome. Like great little point, because to me it's so good that they each. I'm sure all 3 of them can do different types of screams, but Brian's committed to the one.
Yeah.
And Isaac's got his. He's like the low, and then like he kind of got like a more like mid-rangey, like traditional.
Nico's got like a traditional like hardcore guy.
Yeah.
Shout.
So for them to all 3 just kind of lean into like having one scream that like it works on a record, but live that's gonna go fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
They're so good together.
So after Thirst is track 2. Piece by Piece.
Yeah.
Good song.
Yeah.
Think it might be my least favorite on the album though.
Okay.
It's not that bad. It's actually great. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. And the more I listen to it, because I've listened to the album maybe 4 times fully, and then I've started to try to listen to it a couple of times, and then got distracted by something else or whatever.
Yeah.
But I get it piece by piece a lot, and the more I hear it, the more I'm into it. But it is kind of like it kind of feels like the middle child of the album. It's like it doesn't have the allure of being the opener. It wasn't a single. There's no real I don't want to say gimmick, but there's nothing super special to it. It's kind of like Don't Reach for Me, where it's just an ass beater.
Yeah.
That's all it's there for. You know what I mean?
Right. Fair enough.
Good song though.
Oh yeah. Great song. I mean, spoilers. I fucking love the record. I mean, I don't think there's like a bad moment on it.
I don't think there's a bad moment.
Or even like a weak moment on it, really.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah,
I think
I get what you're saying.
I think that if I just had to pick though, like if I'm gonna sit here and think about what the parts of the moment that I like the most, versus the stuff that doesn't necessarily stick out to me, that would be where a lot of the stuff just kind of is like, it's here,
right?
So after Piece by Piece,
go
into Suffocate, which featuring Poppy was a single. It is probably my favorite song. It was my favorite single.
Yeah,
it's one of my favorite songs on the record. When he talked about how the Poppy feature was not what people expected. She went hard.
Oh yeah.
I love the song.
The more I listened to it, because it was like maybe my least favorite of the three, maybe when it first came out.
Yeah.
But I mean, not the Poppy part. The Poppy part was always great. But uh, funnily enough, I like the part, but like the one part that's the like Latin rhythm, like, or like the Afrobeat style,
Oh, you
like
talking about how they put the
breakdown.
fucking reggaeton breakdown?
Yeah. Like, yeah, that's so, it's so funny to me. Like, I like laugh when I heard it.
Oh, I cackled.
Yeah.
Like straight up. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah. These boys from Kentucky doing what now?
The boontang in the back, dude.
Yeah.
Fucking.
So, but like there was parts on I like, and like, you know, like I said, least favorite of the three. He's not saying much, like you said, but yeah, it's just it was my least, but now I'll just play Suffocate, you know. Well, and then go into Don't Reach for Me.
It'll probably be in my it'll probably be in my most listened to songs of the year for sure.
Yeah. And like thematically, at least those two songs are also tied, right? Like, don't they both start off? Don't Reach for Me. They have like the I Dream of a Cleansing Wave lyric.
Yeah.
In both of them and everything.
Well,
like,
and the whole album, which is another thing that I love. We could talk about a little bit later.
Yeah.
On the pros side of things that they do right is I'm also a huge sucker for transitions of like a whole album, like each song flows into the next one.
Yeah.
Which I know you love because you're a big, prog guy. Big fucking.
Yeah, baby.
I want the whole album to be one long song kind of guy over here.
Hour and a half. Fucking shout out Pelagio by the Ocean, baby.
There you go, dude.
But yeah. Gotta get my fucking stupid ass shout outs from the prog, my
prog
misspent
boys.
prog youth. But yeah, fucking yeah, every song feeds into the next, which is great. Almost like it can't be purposeful. But I want to say like the singles when they were all out, Suffocate, Don't Reach for Me, which is a duo on the album. And then Don't Reach for Me sort of ends with like the noise. There's like this drone that leads into Blinding Faith with the singles list. And then that drone happens again. It leads into the next song on the record.
Yeah.
But I want to say like that drone also is like the end of Blinding Faith or like leads into Blinding Faith.
Yeah.
Like that same sound is like pops back up a couple times.
Back up.
So I do think it was it was almost like a jump scare in and of itself because I had listened to the singles so many times that after hearing Suffocate and Don't Reach for Me and then the new song.
I actually saw someone talking about that online where it was actually somebody being shady. They were like, if people are really this hyped about hearing transitions in songs, like I'm begging you people to listen to more albums, you know? And then someone was like, I mean, yeah, but like alternatively, like I've been listening to the singles so much that it was jarring to not hear Blinding Faith right after Don't Reach for Me.
Yeah.
Because I thought that led into it.
Yeah. Like I knew it didn't because I had seen the track list, but like it almost kind of starts the same way, just super fucking heavy, like, right into the next song. So
yeah.
But yeah, perfect transition into that's Moss overall?
Yeah. Yeah, well, Suffocate goes into Don't Reach for Me.
Yeah.
Which
we didn't talk about, yeah.
Don't Reach for Me is probably my least favorite of the three singles. Not because it's bad. It kind of fits the same thing as like Piece by Piece, where it's like it's a knocked blues song, it's like I guess a standard as it gets for them. There's like 8 breakdowns in that song.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's just a breakdown strung together.
But to me, it doesn't really like I love the end of it. I love the fucking like build up to the like machine gun sounding breakdown at the end. And then it hits like the slow down, like almost like Kubla Khan sounding shit.
Yeah, I say the Kubla Khan riff.
Yeah, I love that. That's like But overall, cool song. It's gonna go crazy live.
Oh yeah.
So
I cannot wait to fucking see this.
But then that
next month.
Yeah, that flows into Moss Covers All.
Yeah. Notorious 45-second song.
So good.
Yeah.
So good. And then Moss Covers All into flows, like really flows more so than any of the other songs, but it really flows directly into Take Me Home.
Yeah.
And those two together are definitely a highlight of the album for me because of like they that's the weirdest that the album gets.
Mm-hmm.
The weirdest that they play with song structure,
mm-hmm.
with like the almost sample sounding part, the yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then just like the way they fuck with the structure of the song and like the different builds up to and Take Me Home. I almost argue that they should have been one track.
Yeah.
And I think that if it was one track, you should almost flip it around. You should do all the weird stuff and Take Me Home, and then end it with the fucking like brutal smack in the face that is Moss Covers All.
Yeah.
Because Moss Covers All is just like, like I said, it's 47 seconds. It's literally just like the heaviest thing for 47 seconds. And then all of a sudden, then they do the moody build up after it, which is interesting. Right. It's cool.
Especially after coming off of Don't Reach For Me, Kubla Khan.
Yeah.
You know, it pauses and then it goes straight into...
Yeah, like putting your face into the fucking grinder, and then all of a sudden, then it's like, okay, now we're getting real creepy.
Right, exactly.
Which is cool.
Yeah, I mean, it works for me, but I get what you're saying 100%. Like, you know, it could have definitely either been one song or, like, sort of flipped it around. Either one might have worked.
Yeah. But, that leads into Slaughterhouse 2.
Yeah. Probably my least favorite.
I mean, if I was a betting man, I was gonna put money on it being your least favorite with no context at all. Just because I can't imagine you fuck with Chris Motionless like that.
No, not really. But the big thing about it though that makes it not my favorite is really like it's got a really cool little section in the middle with the click track and the guitar. Yeah, but it's just like it starts off okay, like the very first riff, and then it goes into like that octave riff that they do.
Yeah.
And it sounds really not like them.
Well, you know, actually, I would argue that that song is the most old school Knocked Loose sounding song.
Sure.
On here. Because when it kicks in and it's just like got that like kind of like death metal-y sounding like that sounds like some laugh track shit. Sounds like some shit Cole would have wrote.
Yeah.
Which is cool, but it doesn't really fit with the rest of the record as much.
Sure.
It definitely is the thing that sticks out the most.
And to be fair, I think Chris Motionless, like his vocals fit okay.
Yeah.
He does a good job.
Yeah, he sounds good.
But like, yeah, I just think like there's maybe just everything doesn't quite come together for me, but that's just because, and I kind of like, I don't mind Slaughterhouse 1. Like I've heard
you go listen to it?
Yeah. Well, it had, it's come up before.
Yeah.
Like I've heard it. It's like, okay, yeah. I'm like, that's cool. But I don't know. I mean, I get wanting to get Chris on there because they, like the sequel song thing.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's not a bad song by any means, but I think it's, to me, thematically, like on the record, it doesn't fit the most. It sticks out the most.
It does stick out the most. But everything seems to have like a pretty consistent vision.
Yeah.
Especially with like mood. Of like even the songs that are like just straight up ass beaters, like Don't Reach For Me and like Piece by Piece, stuff like that. Like they maybe not be as spooky as some of the other songs, but they still narratively kind of fit with everything. Whereas Slaughterhouse 2 still kind of does, but also like they're just trying to make it a reference to the first song.
Yeah.
So, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, because I think my favorite part of the song is like the very end when they do the actual like lyric calls back to the first song when he's like fucking one mutilation under God or some shit. I'm like, yeah,
yeah,
hard as nails.
Yeah, that shit goes pretty good.
I could have done without the stereotypical blah, but
I mean, look,
it kind of goes crazy.
Yeah.
Kind of goes.
No, that's the thing. Yeah. At this point,
Like it was cliche, and I kind of like rolled my eyes, but at the same time, I'm like, yeah, but it kind of goes hard.
yeah, it was a really good blend too.
So, he's very good at it. Chris
Yeah.
Motionless does a very good blend, dude.
No, yeah, I think it was good. Like I like the ending. Like it definitely gets to a place that flows into the next song, you know, sort of like keeps that momentum going.
Keeps the momentum going. Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. So cool song, but then that flows into the calm that keeps you awake, which I think that is going to be like a sleeper for some people, but I love it.
Yeah, I want to say, yeah, if that's the one, I think it is. Yeah,
it's the one that has like all the really cool like additional percussion, like throughout it, where you hear like the fucking like cowbells and shit.
Okay, yeah, like definitely. Like the lyrics in this song are really cool too. Like they kind of like, you know, call it to the name of the song, the calm that keeps you awake or whatever.
Yeah,
kind of like plays back into that and stuff. I like I love his lyrics in general.
His lyrics are good.
They're all stand out from top to bottom.
He's really coming to his own. Like he's always had pretty good lyrics, even when he was younger.
Yeah.
He's changed his writing style a good bit. I know that like he's gone on record saying that the way that he wrote like "Tearing the Fabric of Life" was very different for him. But since then, all the stuff that he's done, like Upon Loss and then these songs, his writing style has definitely like improved a lot lyrically.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I will say "Tearing the Fabric of Life" is like my favorite of his lyrics.
Oh, for sure.
You know, the way he wrote that record or whatever. And these are still like these are on par with like the Upon Loss, which is great also.
Yeah.
You know, this kind of like obviously closer to that because it's, you know, closer to that.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, so shout out the lyrics of this song, but also, yeah, I mean, just a fucking hell of a song.
It's a good song. Like I said, my favorite part is like the additional like percussion stuff that you hear.
Yeah.
I think it's like cowbells or something. It's cool.
Yeah.
I hope they play it live one day, but we'll see.
Yeah.
And then that flows directly into Finding Faith, which we've talked about being probably your favorite.
Yes.
That's one of my favorites. It's definitely a highlight. I'm glad it was the first single. That makes sense to be the single.
Yeah.
It is an absolute ass beater. Just blisteringly good.
Yeah.
Lyrics are awesome. The talking about the multi-vocalist thing, I think that's the biggest pop of the entire record is the fucking bend the knee, child of God.
Yeah.
Sipping from a McDonald's cup sound effect that Brian makes, you know?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's definitely, to me, that's like vocally is like definitely the highlight of the record.
It's the coolest shit. I love hearing like people trade off just in general. So like hearing that, awesome.
Yeah.
Also shows you because like the gutturals, that is like that's the squeal guttural stuff. That's Brian.
Yeah.
Which people are like, what? He could do that? And I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he can do more than just his normal style. He just doesn't.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, and I think that's awesome. Like, yeah, the thing is, you can't learn how to scream and not be able to scream.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, once you know how to scream properly, you can apply that to other screams. He can scream however he wants.
Yeah.
He just chooses to sound like the most angriest man in the world. The
angriest man alive.
Yeah, for a reason, because it fucking is awesome. Shout out, like, production-wise, the big outro to Blinding Faith.
Oh my God, yeah.
Where like the way they do it, like the bass gets turned down real low so the guitars can get cranked way the fuck up, and it's like the loudest shit you've ever heard in your life type shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, like, oh man, because like 68 does that on one of their.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? They do that a couple times where, like, it's just like, how can this be this loud? Like, how is Spotify allowing this to happen? Type shit.
Yeah, I remember you messaging me when that song came out, and you were just like, yeah, shout out to that part that definitely breaks Spotify's noise guidelines.
Yeah, like 100%. It's insane.
It's fucking awesome.
Love it.
And then finally, the closing track, Sit and Mourn.
Yeah.
Which mm, might be my favorite song on the album, besides Suffocate.
Yeah, it's up there.
It's
awesome.
The closers, it's so good.
Yeah.
First of all, points for being, like I said earlier, my favorite thing in the world is whenever there's a song that's not the title track, because there isn't a title track, but then you finally hear the name of the album, they save it for last. Yeah. Points for that. Save it for the last song. Oh, yeah. Full circle.
Oh, yeah.
The lyrics are very good. I think probably the best lyrics of the album on that.
Yeah.
The melodic stuff, the how like outro of it, just like I can already see this live, like them closing with it before doing like an encore, if they ever become like an encore band, but just closing with it, and just like Brian walking off stage for the end, and then just like jamming out the last part of it. Chills. It's gonna be so cool.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know, because you said you've only heard it a couple of times, but it came through a lot when I was listening to it. They almost get close to having like singing on it. If you listen to like the part that's like, I guess like the hook or the refrain for the song, it's like, I think it's Isaac is in the background, and the way that it hits with like the way that the guitar is going is it's almost like them doing like a melody. I can't tell if anyone's actually singing, kind of.
I have to listen to it.
But it's about as close as we've gotten to like them having like a singing part.
Yeah.
It's the most melodic song on the album, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, probably my favorite.
Oh, yeah.
A great closer. I'm a simple guy. If you got a good opener and you got a good closer, I'm probably gonna like the record.
Yeah.
So
fair enough. I mean, that's definitely like the whole album is great, and there are definitely some highlights, like vocally, lyrically, ass beatery.
Oh yeah.
But I did catch wind. You did mention like you had a little gripe about something, and you haven't told me. So I'm
now
interested.
that we've talked about all the tracks, we'll wrap this up.
Yeah.
Out of 10, what are you giving it?
Oh, dude, like I don't know. Let's go 8.89.
That's actually lower than I thought.
Well, I mean, give me 45 minutes of it. You know what I mean? Like I did say, I do love shorter albums, but also they could have done this for 45 minutes, and I would have been here for it.
I mean, I almost think they should have put the Upon Lost singles on here.
Yeah.
Just to give it a little bit more runtime, but at the same time, I don't know how they would have fit them in. So I get it. I will say that if I'm gonna dock a point off, that's got to be the only way I could do it. Is like even make it an even 30. Give me 2 more songs. Yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
Let's run with it. But yeah, I'd say like a 9 flat.
Okay. I'm gonna give it like probably also like a 9 flat, or maybe like a 9.2 or so, because it's close to being like about as good as it gets for metal.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely in their bag, like that grab bag of like hardcore metalcore influence.
The only reason that I would give it lower than that, like it's probably my favorite heavy thing this year so far. But the only gripes that I really have is just some stuff with the production, and it's not even a production being bad thing, because it's pretty good. They went with a different approach. They went with a very unique approach, a very extreme approach, I would say.
Right.
And some of it works really well for me. Like I love the way the drums sound. I love the fucking dodgeball hitting a gymnasium snare.
Yeah.
That just cuts through everything in the mix.
Yeah. I will say, if I do have a nitpick production wise, it is the snare.
I love it.
I love it 90% of the time, but whenever the snare gets hit by itself, it just doesn't do it for me.
Really?
In the mix, it's perfect, but whenever there's a couple
you hear
times,
like a random snare hit,
I
see.
Whenever it's like cut out silent, like
we are the opposites there, sir.
Yeah, I mean it's weird, but like it's almost too perfectly bad, like dirty sounding, It's like, man, let me get a little bit of ring on that bitch.
Like,
let me get a room mic whenever you're hitting that thing by itself. Like,
yeah.
I want to hear that bitch reverberate.
My problem, I think, with the production comes from the guitar tones.
Yeah.
And some people are gonna be like, "What? You don't want the guitar sound on it?" I'm like, I do.
Mm-hmm.
But there's certain parts when they're playing riffs where like I'm not gonna say there's like not a lot going on, but it's clearly like a part that's not supposed to be like a big moment. Like it's just like if I can like let Brian say some words real quick so we can get to a call out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Where the way that they have the guitars mixed so like fucking blown out of proportion,
mm-hmm.
it really starts sounding just blown out of proportion. It starts sounding like fucking mud.
Which I did watch a rig rundown, and they do play through like a swollen pickle fuzz and an octave of pedal.
Yeah.
Like they use an octave, assumedly up or down. I don't know which one.
Probably down.
But and they're in A standard or drop A. I can't remember which one. So that's probably why. I mean, I get what you're saying. Like the guitars are not meant to be legible, for better or for worse. Like
until they play like very specific parts where it's like, okay, that's a very particular thing that I'm hearing. But any of the parts where it's just like strumming, it just starts sounding like noise.
Yeah.
Which I guess some people are gonna like. Exactly. Yeah.
Give me the dirtiest guitar.
One that also leads to my overall issue with the production for the album is that like I never thought I'd say this, but it's almost just like it's almost too fucking loud.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's clipping at parts.
Yeah, and I will say like music, like production wise, once you get to a certain point, it does get flatter. The louder you get, the flatter it gets, which I don't think it falls into that per se.
Yeah.
But it definitely makes sense that if you feel it's too loud and it is clipping, it definitely does like sort of just turn it into just like almost noise.
There's parts on it, even at the very beginning I noticed it. I mean, immediately, because I thought it was maybe my computer or my headset that I was listening to it with.
Mm-hmm.
As I was like, did I get a bad copy of this? Or like, because I listened to like an actual like 320 kilobit per second.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you said you you got it early.
No. But I have like an actual download of it, not just the Spotify version. So I was listening to it like natively, and I'm like, is it me? Yeah, I thought my headset was fucking up, and then I realized like, no, that's just the way the audio is for the album, which is a stylistic choice.
Yeah.
The big difference with this record versus all their other stuff is all of their full lengths and like Tear in the Fabric of Life and everything up to that was all Will Putney. And then with the Upon Lost singles and then this album, they went to don't remember his name. I think his like producer name is Wizard Blood.
Sure.
Okay. Wizard Blood, I think. And he's done some. He's like one of the guys in LA that is like maybe responsible for the things that you for sure hate in modern metalcore production.
Oh no! I thought you were gonna with his name. I thought he was like Mammoth Wizard Bastard Weed or whatever that band.
Oh no! He's like a very
he's like a stoner or like a sludgy sort of guy with the production on this shit.
Yeah, Drew Falk. Why can I remember his name? Is Drew Falk? I know Drew Falk.
Okay.
Drew Falk. Let me read off a couple of things that he's done.
Let me prepare myself.
Lil Peep.
Okay.
NLE Choppa, Lil Wayne, Kevin Gates. And then he's done like A Day to Remember, Motionless in White. Let's see.
Excuse the fuck out of me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I think he got to start really doing Motionless in White stuff. Amir, Ice Nine Kills, Beartooth, Chelsea Grin, Plotting You.
Now is he doing these like bands like later records or seminal works? What is he working on?
Like later stuff.
On all these guys, like not like their big stuff.
I mean, define.
Well, big, okay.
Big for them, for like their fans. Probably not big for you,
right?
Like for Like, who are
Like
you thinking?
he's doing like later A Day to Remember. He's doing later Beartooth. He's doing
so
later...
like the A Day to Remember that he did was their terrible fucking record that came out like a couple years ago. The pop album.
Yeah.
Bad.
Right. So I'm saying he's not been anybody's like go to, like he's like made like their seminal works or nothing, right?
He arguably
Maybe
Motionless in White. He's been doing Motionless in White since 2012.
Right. Okay.
So he's been their guy for a long time. But like he's done a lot of he did like the last Papa Roach album.
Oh hell yeah.
And then he's
so it sounds like almost like a Gun for Hire almost.
Yeah, to a point. He's just kind of like the LA guy.
Yeah. That's crazy. Like I would not have thought anybody who did any of that stuff. I was going to say the word crap. I'm not going to do it.
No, it's fine. I that's what I was expecting.
But yeah, but that's where like obviously a band like Knock Loose is not going to let their producer.
Well, I think it's what it is like they're friends with the guy. They know him, and they got with him, and they're like, we want to do something crazy. We want to do something that doesn't sound like anything you've done before. Yeah. And he was like, yeah, fuck it, we ball, dude. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, like Knock Loose came to him. Yeah. It wasn't like, oh, Knock Loose, let me get you in the studio. I got a great sound for you. You ever heard of Day to Remember? Yeah. No, not the good Day to Remember.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like, but okay, so
yeah, so really, enough. Really interesting. I remember when the Upon Law singles were coming out, or when they came out, I went to listen to them, and I was like, this is different production. And then I saw that it said, Wizard Blood or Drew Fulkin, the thing, and I was like, oh no. And then I listened to it again, and I was like, yeah, I can kind of hear some of his more like modern sounding stuff versus how Will Putney makes everything sound. Mm-hmm. Which, you could technically get into like people who want to, maybe criticize a little bit how Will Putney, mixes stuff. Sure. And how it can either be safe or he starts to make stuff sound kind of samey.
Yeah. So, well, yeah, I mean, for better or for worse, Will Putney sounds like Will Putney.
Yeah, like if it's Will Putney. He has a distinct style for his bands, like the Heat does. So yeah,
but which I like. I have.
Oh, I love.
I have Will Putney's couple of his tones and stuff over there.
I love Will Putney. I mean, I think he's like for better for worse, he's the GOAT for this stuff.
Yeah, the End records, love the sound of the End records, which this kind of sounds more like, in that style,
which makes me, not to speculate too much, or not to dig into things too much, but I'm almost just like, why didn't y'all go back to Will? Yeah. Because, like, in between Tearing the Fabric of Life and, like, his work with, like, End and stuff like that, he could have done this. Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
But, hey, you know what? Mix it up. Work with new people. Exactly. I'm into it.
Exactly. Why not? I mean, you can't, you can, but you maybe don't want to exactly work with the same guy. You get out of your comfort zone and all that stuff.
For sure.
But yeah, I think production-wise, like, it wasn't like, it was noticeable, as in it's like a new record and a new way to go, but it wasn't like compared to like a Tear in the Fabric of Life, like it wasn't like so far gone where it was like, oh, they got a new guy or something, like it never really struck me. Yeah. It's just Knock Loose sounding like Knock Loose, however they're going to sound like it. So
true.
Yeah, production back into things, pretty interesting to get into, but all in all, they're playing 5150s with fucking fuzz pedals and, overdrives, and
that's awesome.
They're just fucking making white noise come out of speaker cabinets.
For sure.
I love it.
But yeah, man. I think all in all, great record. Yeah.
Hope they drop again soon.
Hopefully this doesn't take another 3 to 5 years.
3 to 5 years for another 30 minutes of music.
That's fine. They'll tour the shit and back on this stuff. Throw our combined scores up here. Yeah. Cool.
18 out of 10. Great
18. Job. Yeah. Great job, guys.
You won.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm becoming bigger. I like this format for things that we want to really specifically hone in on. Yeah. Obviously, we really excited about the Knock Loose album because we went and got new mics and started wearing headsets, and we changed the color. Where are you going?
Hey, yeah.
Oh, get it green.
We're like the forest from the picture.
Yeah, dude. Whoa.
Yeah, wow.
I mean, maybe not this shade of green, but like this is the closest we could get. Fuck it.
I got the cheapest fucking
LED.
Hey, we hit 100 subscribers. We'll do a behind the scenes.
We'll be behind it. Yeah.
see what the fuck I'm working with over here, dude.
God.
But no, thank you guys.
Yeah.
We'll be back soon, sooner than last time.
Oh yeah, this hopefully, like I said, editor. Looking at you, man.
God willing, and the creek don't rise.
God willing, yeah. Hopefully, this is out very, very, very soon. Yeah. So, all right, EternalDisco, knock loose. You won't go before you're supposed to.
Forever.
Forever.